formation launches the first wave of 189 fighters and bombers from the task force carefully led by Captain Koshida. The unprovoked surprise attack was so complete that they cut into successive Tora, Tora, Tora. Reading Tiger, Tiger, Tiger was sent back to the carrier task force before the first bomb fell. A single remote radar station had spotted the incoming raiders, but this hit them from black B-17s to win the command. The B-17s arrived and, like America herself, find themselves in a war that had not yet been declared. The attack was from the Japanese aircraft carriers, Akagi, Lakata, Hiru, Toru, and the two new carriers, the Shokoku and Tsuchiya. Their plan was simple: destroy the Pacific Fleet. The raid lasted for a little over 2 horrific and gruesome hours. Yes, you have a front row seat in the Pacific Theater as the story of the attack on Pearl Harbor unfolds right in front of you. When the first bombs began to fall, pilots all over the island jumped into action, and we were filled with attack on Pearl Harbor. More than half of America's entire naval fleet has been destroyed or damaged. Nearly 2,400 Americans are killed, over 1,200 wounded, and at the time, 960 people are missing. 188 aircraft were destroyed, 159 damaged. Just 155 of our aircraft lay on the ground. 2 battleships were destroyed, 3 light cruisers, 3 destroyers, and a total of 6 battleships damaged. Our greatest naval base lay in ruins, along with our complacency. The following day, December 8, 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced our entry into World War II with these words to Congress, the citizens of the United States, and the world.
Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. It will be reported that the distance away from Japan makes it obvious that the attack was deliberately planned many days or even weeks ago. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
In the 44 months of fighting that followed, the United States sank every one of the Japanese. Determination and effort, and extend our appreciation to the men and women fighting for our freedom today. We salute them all, past, present, and future. We are Tora Tora Tora. Jim Cool, Tina and Tommy Anderson, Mark White for over 20 years and also second generation pilot. Right here in 0112 with Parker Ruffman, relentless tested,